Om Sadashivasamārambhām Shankarācārya Madhyamām Asmadācārya Paryantāം Vande Guru Parampārām. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sakano Bhunaktu Saha Vīryam Karvāvahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So we will just go to the next verse, which is verse number 24, correct?
Yes. Yes.
Sri Bhagavanu Vacha
Shri Bhagavanu Vacha
Agnir Jyotirah Shuklaha Shanmasa Uttarayanam Tatra Prayata Gachanti Brahma Brahma Vido Janaha.
Brahma Vido Janaha.
So I'm just muting all of y'all and let us look at what the verse says. So we are talking about Krama Mukti only, the people who are the jivas who are departing. And here, Tatra Prayata Gachanti. Those people departing by that, Tatra is that. What is that? Here it is Shukla Marga, the Shukla path, the brighter path. Prayata means travel. So Tatra Prayata Gachanti. Those people who are traveling by that path, Janaha Brahma Vidaha. Who are those people? Janaha. They are those people who are Brahma Vidaha. So here you have to carefully note that Brahmavid does not mean Jnani. It means persons who are meditating on Saguna Brahman. Why is that interpretation taken? Because we talked about Omkara Upasana. And therefore, the person who is meditating on Omkara as Brahman, that means Saguna Brahman only. So, Janaha Brahma Vidaha, those people who are meditating on Saguna Brahman, on Ishvara, what happens to them? Tatra Prayata Gachanti, they travel by Shukla Marga, and Tatra Prayata, they travel by Shukla Marga, Brahma Gachanti, they attain Brahman. And now he gives several words. Agnihi, fire. Jyotihi, flame. Ahaha. So where is ahaha? It is Agnihi, Jyotihi. You have to drop the R. The R you have to drop, becomes ahaha. Agnihi, Jyotihi, ahaha. Ahaha means daytime or day. And Shuklaha. So Shuklaha is basically bright, but here it means presiding deity of the bright fortnight, right? And what is that? Shanmasa Uttarayanam, the 6 months. There are two portions here. The fortnight is here, and Shanmasa Uttarayanam. Shanmasa is 6 months. Which 6 months? Uttarayanam, the 6 months of the sun's northern course. Okay. So essentially, we are saying that the verse says that departing by Shukla Marga, which is presided over by Agnihi, Jyotihi, Ahaha, Shuklaha, then talks about the bright fortnight, the 6 months of the sun's northern course, and those people who meditate on Saguna Brahman, they attain Brahman going through this particular path. So a bit complicated. Let's look at it again. Shukla Margaha or Shukla Gatihi is also called Devayanaha. This is being defined here. So Tatra means, here refers to Shukla Margaha. Prayata is traveling. Tatra Prayata, those people who travel on that Shukla Marga, Brahma Gachanti, they will attain Brahmaji's feet, attain Brahmaloka and go to Brahmaji. So we're talking about Krama Mukti. Yeah, here the word Brahma refers to Lord Brahmaji himself and also to Brahmaloka. Therefore, you have to understand it as those people travel by Shukla Marga, go to Brahmaloka, go to Lord Brahmaji's Vedanta classes, and therefore Krama Mukti they will obtain. Why? Because Brahmaji will teach them the Shastram. Shastram teaches you what? Brahma Asmi, Jnanam, and therefore they will get Krama Mukti. Why is it called Krama Mukti? Because there is a process involved. He dies, he goes to Shukla Marga, he goes to the classes, then gets Jnanam. So the sequence, number of steps are involved. Kramena, Brahma Mukti. Okay. So what is the Shukla Marga? And in the Shastram, the Vedas talk about two Margas, the Shukla Marga and the Krishna Marga. And there is a very, very elaborate discussion on this in the Brahma Sutra. So we have to wait for that because we are still in the 8th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, right? We have Upanishads and then Brahma Sutras. So briefly, the Shastra points out, I request people not to unmute themselves. It disturbs the recording also. Okay. The Shastra points out that the person who has meditated upon Saguna Brahman, which means he has done karma and upasana, right? So we are talking about upasaka. Remember, there is no such thing as kevala upasaka, only upasana. He is always accompanied by Vaidika karma. So you can either be a karmi doing only Vaidika karma, or you can be a Vaidika karmi who has also done upasana, and that is called a upasaka over here. You cannot have only an upasaka without karma, right? So there are two portions: persons who do karma, persons who have added upasana to the karma. Shastra says that if you have done the upasana, then you will travel by one of these two margas, Shukla Marga and Krishna Marga. And in each of these margas, marga means path, right? So in each of these margas, there are special, let us say, guides, people to guide you along the path who are devatas. So it's something like a relay race. You know, one devata will take you up to a particular distance and then hand you over to the next devata, so that finally you reach a destination. And who are these devatas? Krishna is giving the names of 5 devatas in this first line: Agnihi, Jyotihi, Ahaha, Shuklaha, Uttarayanam. Right. So just remember, these are all devata names. So Agnihi has to be understood as Agni Devata, then Jyoti Devata, then Shukla Devata, and so on. Ahaha means Ahara Devata. Aha literally means day, but again it is Ahara Devata only, the Devata presiding over the daytime. Then Shuklaha is literally either bright or white. You can take it either way, very bright, very white. But it refers to Shukla Paksha Devata. There's a Paksha called Shukla Paksha. Where do you find Shukla Paksha? What is the reference?
The moon.
Waxing and waning of the moon.
Please elaborate.
The fortnight from Amavasya to Paurnima.
The bright fortnight.
Yeah, so there is we are talking about the lunar calendar, right? So world over, of course, we are now using Gregorian calendar, the solar calendar, but all Shastra refers to lunar calendar only. So our day is 28 days, our month is 28 days. So it starts from the full moon to the new moon and so on. So where the moon is, waxing. What is waxing? Not the wax which you put in our hands. Waxing means there is no moon and every day it becomes brighter and brighter and more visible. Finally, the full moon is visible. So that is the waxing portion. So that fortnight, those 14 days are called Shukla Pakshaha. And similarly, Uttarayanam. Uttarayanam is 6 months. Uttarayanam Shanmasaha, which means that Uttarayanam consists of 6 months. Uttar is north. So this symbolizes the journey of the sun towards, how to put it, north of the equator. Does it make sense? Which are the months? Which month is the sun moving north of equator?
Starting January 14th.
January, we just did the Shankran.
Correct.
Sankranti.
January
Then
14th
what's the-
onwards,
Yeah.
Uttarayanam starts. Okay. So it goes 6 months there. That is a northern journey. And then there is southern journey also. And north and south have this very important meaning in Shastra, right? North symbolizes what and south symbolizes what?
North symbolizes, the south symbolizes Yama.
Symbolizes death.
Yes.
And therefore north symbolizes immortality, which
Immortality.
is moksha, right? Therefore, that is the only reason. That is the only reason why the Shanmasa is said to be Punya Kalam. Is said to be a period of great Punyam, because it is a time when sun is moving the north. Again, it is very easy to confuse Uttarayanam as 6 months, because he's saying Uttarayanam Shanmasa, right? So be carefully note here that Uttarayanam means Uttarayana Devata. The Devata who is presiding over those 6 months, not the 6 months itself. This is extremely important, this idea, right? Because as we discuss, you will see how many misconceptions there are. And what is the Devata? Devata, you can take it as the natural principle, the intelligence principle, which governs various natural events. So law of nature, you can call it. And wherever there is a natural law, we say there must be a intelligent principle governing that law, administering that law. That is called a Devata. So the law of karma, for example, is a natural law. Who is the administrator of the law of karma?
Bhagavan.
What is he called?
Karma Phaladata.
Karma Phaladata. So that is a Devata, right? Similarly, for every natural law, there is a Devata who administers. And remember that all the Devatas put together, there are many natural laws, there are many Devatas, right? You have the Chandra Devata, you have the Surya Devata, and hundreds of Devatas are there. All of them put together are called what?
Ishvara.
Ishvara or Bhagavan.
Bhagavan.
You are advanced students. You should come up with the right word.
Saguna Brahman.
In other words, say another word for it. Hiranyagarbha. Okay.
Ah, okay.
Remember that all natural
Mhm.
devatas are called Hiranyagarbha. I mean, put together is Hiranyagarbha, right? And the individual aspects, you give different names, Surya Devata, Chandra Devata, etc. Okay, now here, a possible objection which you should have got by now, and if you have not got, then I'll explain. Here we say Agni Devata is there and Jyoti Devata is there. Then these are not Devatas governing Kala, right? Now, remember that the 23rd verse talks about Yatra Kale. So, Kala is the word that Krishna uses. Kala means time. So, here all this Agni, Jyotish, Shukla, Shanmasa, Uttarayanam, they are referred to as Kala Devatas because in reference to the earlier verse. Now, if you take Kala as time, then how can you call the whole set as Kala Devatas? Because Ahaha, Shuklaha, Shanmasa, Uttarayanam, they are all can be taken as Kala time, right? Aha is a day, Shuklaha is that period, Shanmasa is 6 months, 6 months period, all can be taken as time. But Agnihi and Jyotihi are definitely not related to time. how can you call them as time? Shankara says, no problem. He says, he gives an example. You take, let us say, an orchid where a lot of apples are there. It's an apple orchid, right? Now the thing is, in that particular land, you might find other things. Shrubs are there, flowers are there, maybe one mango tree is there. So will you say that this is not an orchid? You won't. Why?
Predominantly,
Because
there are
mainly the
or
apples are
largely there.
there.
Correct. You got the correct answer. Majority is apples, and therefore you will say it's an orchid. Now in this list, Agni, Jyotihi, Aha, Shuklaha, Uttarayanam. Out of the 5, how many are related to time?
4.
Aha,
Ahaha,
Shuklaha,
Shuklaha,
Uttarayanam.
Shanmasa and
Shanmasa
Uttarayanam.
is qualifying Shukla. Okay, so and therefore 3 out of the 5 are Kala. Therefore, Kala Devata is okay. 3 against 2. It's only a subsidiary, observation, but it is necessary to understand why the Gati, the path, is being called Kalam here, right? So here, remember that, and there's a very, very detailed description or discussion in Brahma Sutras where Kala is to be taken as the path presided over by the Devatas, not as time. If you take Kala as time, you run into a lot of problems. And that, if you say that this Yatra Kale has to be taken as time, there is a huge problem. That problem we will discuss slightly later in another verse, right? But remember this big misconception of taking this Kala in this verse as time has led to this huge, erroneous idea which many people have, that time of death is relevant to the journey after death. So people say that if you die in Uttarayana Kala, right? That is those 6 months of Uttarayanam, then it's an auspicious death. And then you will go into Shuklagati. Have you heard this before?
Yes.
Where is it represented in the scriptures? Where is
Bhishma.
Bhishma,
Bhishma, when he lay on the...
waiting for Uttarayana. He's lying on his bed of arrows and waiting for Uttarayana. This is a huge misconception, because from there we take it that if you die during Uttarayana, then only you go to through Shukla Marga, and therefore dying during Uttarayana Kalam is auspicious and dying in Dakshina Kalam is inauspicious. That idea has been spread. Okay, an idea is very commonly understood among Hindus. So, in Brahma Sutra, there is a very detailed discussion where Acharya establishes that Marga does not mean time at all. It means only the path. And if you take Kala as time of death, there will be a lot of contradictions. We'll discuss this 2 verses later in verse number 26, assuming that we'll do it today. Okay. Now, having said that, who is the traveler here? Brahmavid Janaha, the Saguna Brahma Upasaka, who meditates upon Saguna Brahman that is Brahman with form, Ishvara with form, right? Important is Upasaka. People who merely do rituals, Vedic rituals, Shastra says they will not travel by Shuklagati, because here we are talking about Shuklagati. They will not travel by Shuklagati, they will travel by Krishna Gati. What is the difference? If you travel by Krishna Gati, you will come back, you will be reborn on this earth. If you travel by Shuklagati, we are not saying you will not be reborn. There is a chance, the chance is open to you that you will need not come back. But In Krishna Gati, that door is closed. You will definitely have to come back. So only people who travel through Shukla Gati are eligible for Krama Mukti. Those who travel through Krishna Gati, they are not eligible for Krama Mukti. And don't say, what about Jnanis? Do they go through Shukla Gati or do they go through Krishna Gati? What is the answer?
None of them.
None.
They
Their
don't
traveling is no travel.
They don't travel at all. Okay. Now we look at verse number 25. We will chant. Please unmute yourself. Dhumo ratris Krishna
Dhoomo
रात्रिस्तथा कृष्ण
Shanmasa Dakshinayam
Shanmasa
दक्षिणायनम्
Tatra Chandramasam Jyotihi
Tatra
तत्र
Chandramasam
चान्द्रमसं
Jyoti
ज्योतिः
Yogi Prapya Nivartate
Yogi
योगी
Vartate
प्राप्य निवर्तते.
Okay. So Dhumaha. Basically, Dhumaha means what? Don't say
Smoke.
cloud.
Smoke.
Smoke.
Okay, this is clouds. Okay, Dhumaha,
Okay.
clouds. Ratri, night. Krishnaha, you have to relate this to Shuklaha. So Krishna is also Shanmasaha. Okay, that's why he says Krishnaha Shanmasaha. So the 6 months of the sun's other southward the journey, otherwise called Dakshinayanam. Uttarayanam was sun's northward journey for 6 months. So Shuklaha Shanmasa Uttarayanam. That 6 months was called Uttarayanam. And this 6 months is called Dakshinayanam. Then what? Tatra. Departing by that Dakshinayanam, that dark path, Yogi Prapya. The yogi here is the person who is doing karma. Yogi Prapya, yogi attains Chandramasa Jyotihi, the Chandraloka he attains. And what happens to him? Nivartate, he returns. Okay. So Tatra Prayata, we have to say here. Tatra means Tena Margena, then Tena Krishna Margena, traveling by that Dhumaha, by that cloudy, dark, not bright path. Yogi here, of course, as I said, refers to the ritualists, the karmis, right? The one who has done lot of karma but has not yet come to upasana. So another word which is used in scripture is Ishta Adhikari. And remember that the word Ishtam means Vaidika Karmi or Vaidika Karma. So Ishta Adhikari means the person who has done lots of Vaidika Karma. What do? They do lots of pujas, lot of rituals. Naturally, all this is Vaidika Karma. So the result is Punyam only. But because it is not accompanied by Upasana, the Punyam is of a lower quality than for a person who has done Karma plus Upasana. Because the one who has added Upasana to his Vaidika Karma, he does a higher sadhana. Why is it higher sadhana? Because the effort required in anything mental, a mental sadhana, Upasana is a mental sadhana, while Karma is a physical sadhana. Therefore, Kaika sadhana and Manasika sadhana, there is a clear difference. The effort required for Manasika sadhana is much higher. Therefore, Punyam arising out of Manasika sadhana, Upasana, is a higher quality Punyam. And add to that, he also has the Punyam from Karma also. Right? So, Karma plus Upasana, both he has done, and his Punyam is of a much, much higher quality. Then is the word Jyotihi. So, Chandramasam Jyotihi. What is Jyotihi here? So, Shankara says, no, here we have to go by Shankara. Otherwise, we'll get confused. Jyoti is light, and how does light come into this picture? So, Shankara says, you interpret this word as phalam. Jyotihi means phalam, the result. The result of punya karma for this karma yogi, that is what it means. Jyotihi yogi prapya. The result of that karma yoga for this karma yogi, he goes through Krishna Marga and reaches Chandramasam. Right? Chandramasam again, Chandramasam, it's a word which can confuse us. So we look to the Bhashyam again, and Shankara says Chandramasi Bhavam means the loka connected to the moon, known as Chandraloka, which is otherwise called what?
Indralok.
No, it's called Swargaloka. So Chandraloka, Swargaloka is the same. Remember that among the lokas, Swargaloka is lower than Brahmaloka, right? So he reaches Swargaloka. What are the lokas? Bhuloka, Bhuvarloka, Maharloka, Janaloka, Tapaloka, Satyaloka. Right? The higher lokas are there. So this ritualist will never go to Brahmaloka. He will go to any of these Swargalokas. The entire 6 below Brahmaloka, Satyaloka, Tapaloka, Janaloka, Mahaloka, Bhuvarloka. The entire 6 are called Swargalokas. One word for all the 6. So generally speaking, you can say Swargaloka and Brahmaloka. Swargaloka consisting of these others up to Tapaloka, Satyaloka is another name for Brahmaloka. So below that, whatever is there is Swargaloka. Brahmaloka is one step above. So there are between Bhuloka, which is our world, and Brahmaloka, all the intermediary lokas, they are generally referred to as Swargaloka. This understanding is necessary because sometimes we think Swarga is one loka. It is not. Swargaloka has various what they call levels. It is something like you have a housing colony. You have low economic class housing colony. People who are slightly better, people who have got more money. So that way. What is the money for achieving in each of these lokas? It is punyam.
The Punyam.
So depending upon the punyam, you can go to any of these lokas, right? And that punyam is generated by karma only. To go to Brahmaloka or Satyaloka, 2 names, same name. Satyaloka is Brahmaloka only. To go there, you need that punyam which has been augmented by upasana. Therefore, the karmi only, the ritualist only will never go to Brahmaloka. Okay, and how does he travel? Not by Shukla Marga, he travels by Krishna Marga. And the Krishna Marga is also presided over by various devatas. The same thing. They receive the person who comes and they hand over to the next person and so on and so forth, right? So Dhumaha, literally Dhumaha means smoke, but here it is the name of the devata, right? Dhuma Abhimani Devata, the one who identifies with that. Ratri means light, night. So here it means Ratri Devata. Krishna means dark, right? But here it means Krishna Paksha Devata. This Krishna is not Vasudeva Krishna. Lord Krishna, don't think of it as. This Krishna is a Krishna Paksha Devata, the Devata presiding over the 6 months of the southward journey. Presiding over the 14 days of the Paksh. There is Shukla Paksh, there is Krishna Paksh, right? So this Krishna Paksh is the Krishna, the Devata, presiding over the waning 14 days of the moon. Once full moon has come, then the moon begins to wane till it fades away into new moon. The Devata who is presiding over those 14 days is called Krishna Paksha Devata. Talked about the Shukla Paksha Devata also. Similarly, Shanmasa Dakshinayanam. Dakshinayanam is the Devata presiding over the 6 months of the southern journey of the sun. So these are all sample Devatas, okay. There are more Devatas, but they are not named here. So guided by these Devatas, the person will go to Swargaloka. Now, why is a path which takes you to Swargaloka called Krishna Gatihi, the dark path? Because Prapya, he will go to Swargaloka, definitely, but Nivartate. Once the punyam is exhausted, he will come back, right? And in Brahma Sutras, in the third chapter, there's a very serious discussion where it says the Saguna Brahma Upasaka is the only one who goes along Shukla Gati. The Karmi, the Saguna Brahma Karmi, one who does karma for Saguna Brahman, ritualist only, with Vedic rituals only, he does not go by that path. And the Nirguna Upasaka, of course, does not go by any path at all, right? So Saguna Brahma Upasaka, the meditator, is the only one who can travel by that path, by Shukla Gati. All these ideas are important because we have a lot of misconceptions born out of general discussion, family, friends, movies. But here you are seeing a little bit of clarity on that. And coming straight from the scriptures from Shankaracharya, so we shall all assimilate these ideas properly. Okay, now we go to the next verse, verse number 26. We will chant. Please unmute yourself. Shukla Krishne Gatihyete.
Shukla Krishne Gati
Jagata Shashvate Mate.
Jagata Shashvate
Ekaya Yat Yanavrityam. Anyaya Vartate Punaha. Mute you all. And I'll request you all not to unmute yourself, even by mistake. It will spoil the recording. So, Shukla Krishne Gati Hyete. Hyete, you have to break up into Hi and Ete. And take that Ete and join it to Gati. Ete Gati. These two paths. Jagataha, which are there in this world, are what? Shukla Krishne, are called Shukla and Krishna. Ete Gati Jagataha. These two paths which are there in the world, and they are in the world from when? Ashvate Matehe. From the very beginning, for eternally these two paths are there in this world, and they are called Shuklaha and Krishnaha, the bright path and the dark path. And these paths are Ashvate. They have always been there. Ekaya. You have to add here, going by. Ekaya means by one, by the former. Ekaya yati anavrittim. Going by the former, going by one path, the former. So Ekaya literally means by one. So which of these one we have to decide according to the context. So he's saying Ekaya yati anavrittim. Going by one, the person does not return. Anavrittim. Attains the world of non-return. This is Brahmaloka. Which path is that? Obviously, Shuklagati. So Ekaya has to be taken as going by Shuklagati. Yati anavrittim. One person, the traveler does not return. Anyaya, going by the other one, this Krishna Gati. Punaha avartate. He comes back again. Okay, so this is basically saying that going by Shukla Marga, you will not come back. Going by Krishna Marga, you will definitely come back. So these two paths are Shukla and Krishnaha. We can think of it as Devayanam and Pitrayanam also. There are many, many names, right? Shukla is there, Krishna is there. Uttarayanam is there, Dakshinayanam. All these paths are there. Devayanam is one popular name for Shukla Gati. And Pitrayanam is another popular name for Krishna Gati. And Jagata Shashvate Matehe. These two paths were created along with creation. When Brahmaji created the world, Veda came. And when Veda came, Karma Upasana teaching is given. And therefore the paths are already there. They have come along with the creation. And the paths will dissolve when creation dissolves at the time of Pralayam. Again, when creation comes, next Srishti comes, again the paths will come back. So, Ekaya Anavrittim Yati. There is one path which is a one-way ticket. There is no return. A person will get Kramamukti, he goes to Brahmaloka, there he studies, and then he gets Krama Mukti. Unlike Jivan Mukti, right? Krama Mukti is, there is a sequence. You go there, there's a transit point, Brahma Loka, where you stay there. There's a layover there, you can call it in flight, airline terms. You stay there and then you study and then you get Jivan Mukti. But unlike Jivan Mukti, which is a direct flight. So this is a hopping flight and this is a direct flight. Krama Mukti is one step out and Jivan Mukti is direct. And then Ananya Avartate Punaha. The other person, taking the other path, Krishna Gati, the person will definitely go to Swargaloka. So even though he has not done Upasana, why will he go to Swargaloka? Because he has done Vajika Karma. And a lot of Punyam has been accrued. Therefore, that Punyam has to be exhausted. Therefore, he will go to Swargaloka. But the negative point is that having exhausted the Punyam, Avartate, he will come back. So this is the idea being carried out. Shukla Gati you will go, you will not come back. Krishna Gati you will go, you will come back. Now look at the verses carefully. There should be a confusion. If you don't look carefully, there is no confusion. But if you have understood the verses properly, the confusion should arise. What is that? I will wait for you to confuse yourself.
Is it that it says the
Talking of
traveler
the
does not
karma yogi.
return?
One person at a time, please.
Please go ahead.
Yes, go ahead. Vandana, please go ahead.
Okay, yes. Is it that it says the traveler does not return, whereas it's only that there is a chance he won't return, not that he won't return for sure.
So that's a further refinement which is not handled here in this sloka. So that's not the one we're talking about.
So Acharya ji, I think it is whether it is a person who's only engaged in karma, Vedika karma, or the one who's done both Vedika karma as well as Upasana, because only the Saguna Upasaka will travel by Shukla Gati.
No. Let me help you out. In verse number 24, there is Uttarayanam, right? So if you take Uttarayanam as time period, we are saying that Uttarayanam and Shukla Pakshaha and Ahaha, there are 3 time periods, right? Ahaha is daytime. Shukla Pakshaha is those 14 days of the waxing moon. Uttarayanam is the 6 months of the northern journey. And therefore, if you die in any of these periods, what happens? You go to Brahma Loka. And if you go to Brahma Loka, you go to Krama Mukti. That is the text of verse number 24. Clear? Okay. Now look at verse number 25. If you die during Ratri, the night, or Krishnaha, the 14 days where the moon is waning, or Dakshinayanam, where the sun is traveling southwards, then you will go by Krishna path, by the dark path, and you will come back. Right? So it is possible, therefore, because of the usage of the word Kale and the fact that these are all time periods, it is possible to interpret the verses as saying that it is the time of the death which will get you to Shukla Gati or Krishna Gati. It has nothing to do with your sadhana at all. Do you get the meaning? It is purely random. If you get hit by a truck in January 15th, then you go to Shukla Gati. If you get hit by a truck on January 13th, then you go to Krishna Gati. That is the argument. What is the flaw?
Sir, you just said that Kale means the path, not
That is
the
okay.
time.
That is the interpretation
Yeah.
you're arriving at. I am talking about, you should point out a logical flaw. So the flaw
But
is,
then where is karma
No,
which is
no.
the main thing involved.
No,
If
that,
it is only a
that's
period.
okay. That's another Shastric argument. But I am saying that now you look at, let us say, the 23rd, 24th verse. So, ahaha, if you die during daytime, it is great. You will go to Shuklagati. You'll go through Shuklagati. What about Shukla Pakshaha? What happens if in Shukla Pakshaha, remember Shukla Pakshaha has both day and night. And Uttarayanam, the 6 months, also has day and night. So what happens if you die during night in one of these time periods? So you're excluding Aha because it's day period. But both Shukla Paksha and Uttarayanam have got night. So what happens if you die in Uttarayanam but at night? Or if you die in Shukla Paksha but at night? Right? And the same argument you look at in verse number 25. If it is, let us say, Krishna Paksha and you die during daytime, or if it is Dakshinayanam, those 6 months, and you die during daytime, there is a straight contradiction. Why? Uttarayanam would give you Shukla Paksha, but Ratri will give you Krishna Paksha. Therefore, if you die during Ratri in Uttarayanam, you cannot, you have to say that there is something wrong with the verse. Because both the ideas are being conveyed. Because in Uttarayanam, I will get Shukla Paksha. Because in Ratri, I will get Krishna Paksha. And similarly, there is a contradictory idea in verse number 25. And this is analyzed in Brahma Sutra. And it said that because of this contradiction, it cannot be said that Kale can be taken as time. Kale, the time of death, cannot determine the path which you get. So it is the quality of life that determines the journey. Right? So when you say quality of life, you are saying Shuklagati means not because you have died during Uttarayanam or during the daytime or during Shukla Paksh, but your entire life has been lived in such a way that you are eligible for traveling by Shukla Paksha. Therefore, it is the quality of life that determines whether you are going to, which path you are going to go by. It is not the time of death. You should never refer to Kale here as time. Always Kale should mean Marga, the path. And you can actually think back and see how many criminals can die during Uttarayanam and how many saints have died during Dakshinayanam. Therefore, it is the quality of life that is important. It is not the time that is important. And Krishna makes it very clear. Ete gatihi shukla krishnehe. This gatihi refers to the path. So the marga is whatever direction you have chosen in your life, which means the quality of a life. Then why are Shukla Gati and Krishna Gati given that name? Shankara says because Shukla Gati is associated with Upasana. Upasana will get you to Brahma Loka and Jnanam. So it is obviously a brighter path. And the absence of that is the absence of going to Brahma Loka means absence of Jnanam, which means you get Krishna Gati, is a darker future for you. Therefore, it is called Krishna Gati. Very involved arguments. I hope you got it. Any questions?
Om Acharya ji.
Yes, please. Amit ji, boliye.
Acharya ji, I think whatever these time frames, is it all referring to natural death?
Either way. Excepting for suicide, everything is covered by Prarabdha. Even accidental death is Prarabdha. Suicide is not, because willpower is involved.
Okay. And one more thing, this daytime, this also like Brahma Muhurat more auspicious than noon time less auspicious. Is there any something like that?
So the whole discussion which just had points out that the time is not important at all. What is
Yeah.
important is the life which you have led.
Correct.
Yes, June.
Acharya ji.
Yeah.
So it is often say that the karmas that we are doing, the karma palam, like nobody knows when it will come. It can come this life or next life. So supposing that these karmis, they are doing a lot of Vedika karma in this lifetime, but either they go to Shukla, not Shukla Gati, but Krishna Gati, like
Yes.
they can go to Swarga Loka, or if they have like bad karmas from past lives, they can also go to lower lokas. So is it not ensured that if they do Vaidika karma in this life to attain Swarga Loka, that's not for sure, because past karmas can also come into account and they can go to lower
You're
lokas.
right. Past karmas can come into account. But generally, if you have spent your whole life doing Vedic karma, what are you doing? You're adding more and more punyam to your karma stock. Right? So the chances are that some of that karma will fructify. Because nobody can ever say no. Because if you got such bad karma in the past that it has got to be exhausted, then that will be exhausted first.
Okay. Thank you.
But remember the 6th chapter. What did Krishna say? You guys have forgotten. 6th chapter.
That if you've reached a certain level on the spiritual path, he will ensure that you get better life next time.
Yes. Parthanaivehe namutraha vinashastasya vidyate nahi kalyanakrit kaschida durgatim tata gacchati. This is 6.40. So that also you have to factor in over here. Bhagavad Gita has to be understood as a totality. Right? Once you have stepped onto the spiritual path, Krishna says, I guarantee that you will get a better life. So, a person who is doing Vajika karma is definitely on the spiritual path. So, Krishna's warranty there is that no, you won't have a path of going downwards. It will always be upwards.
Okay. Thank you, Acharya.
Okay.
So, Acharya ji, may I ask?
Yes, please.
Sometime back, I remember you having told us that even going to Brahmaloka doesn't always lead to Kramamukti. The Upasaka may also get entangled with Apsaras and come back.
Yes, so
So
there's another discussion on that Brahma Sutra, so that's why I didn't enter it over here. Here we are taking that Brahmaloka means path of no return because the verses indicate that. But there is a further discussion which says that you may go to Brahmaloka, but you could choose not to go for the classes. In which case, what will happen? You will have extremely good life over there. Enjoy lots of stuff. And then you will be back.
Yes, you said about going to the bar and going to the other things.
You go to an air-conditioned bar instead of a normal bar.
But is that for a Sakama Upasaka? A Nishkama Upasaka should not require that or go there. Is that also
that discussion we'll leave for a later time.
Okay.
Ravi ji, I have a question. So what happens to, you said that for somebody who commits suicide, free will is involved. So what gati does that person go through as per Shastra?
Obviously, Krishna, the downward gati, because you have used your free will to try to take your life. And therefore, the papam generated out of that will ensure there is a adhogati. That is, these two are Shukla Gati and Krishna Gati. There is a third path, adhogati. Both these are upward paths. Adhogati is a downward path, going to lower lokas. That's why suicide is considered, huge crime. You can enter a lot of discussion on this, right? What about refusing to take, let us say, assistance to continue your life? Does that tantamount to suicide? There is no end to the discussion, but it's a good point. Supposing a person is on his deathbed and his life can be prolonged by putting him on to, all these machines, and he says no. Does that tantamount to suicide or not?
Yes, also euthanasia.
Euthanasia
Not
is
in my
definitely
opinion,
suicide, okay?
sir.
Euthanasia is definitely suicide because actively ending
Yes,
your life.
yes, but this is where it's not an active way of saying I don't want the ventilator or not, don't put it on me. It's like saying that I want to go the way it's there. I don't want the artificial means.
What you are saying is that let Prarabdha take its course.
Yes, yes,
Don't interfere with it.
yes.
So that's my understanding also. Of course, I could be totally wrong, but that's my understanding that if you refuse to accept, 20 injections in your body just to prolong your suffering,
Correct.
I don't know whether that is really worth it. But if you,
Sir.
yeah,
Sorry.
good,
No,
go
can I
ahead.
just share something? I have a very close friend who's suffering from terminal cancer and a very intelligent in that sense. And he has opted for not going for any aggressive treatment since it's a last stage. He says, no, I don't want all this aggressive chemotherapy and treatment. And he is ready to take whatever comes in whatever duration of life he has left. So
Okay.
that requires a strong mind.
If you are willing to bear the pain that is coming and you're saying it's okay, I don't know. Even if you take painkillers, okay, it's fine.
Yeah.
But the point is that you are not trying to artificially prolong your life. That's okay.
Correct.
There are people who have refused to take chemotherapy for cancer.
Yes.
Preferring to live out their life naturally. It's a very dicey point of discussion, whether does that tantamount to suicide or not. It's all opinions.
But Acharya, sometimes family members don't even ask and they put the people in ICUs and ventilators. So where does this fall into?
If your willpower is not involved, it's your prarabdha always.
Please come again, I missed you.
If you are saying family member does not ask you and dump you in the ICU, then your willpower has not been involved, right?
Hmm.
So prarabdha.
So this becomes collective prarabdha. The people in the family also join to.
So like in case of
increase.
Michael Schumacher, he's in ICU and ventilator for I think last 10 years
Your
or 12 years.
decision about your life should always be yours. Right? I know people, like especially children who are fond of you, would not want you to die. But it's up to you to have a good long discussion and say, do you really want me to suffer every single moment of my life? So we know a friend, who's going through chemotherapy. I know a friend, and it's terrible. Like,
so all this has to be discussed like a will. I mean, I make this will. I mean, consciously, when you are conscious senses, then you
absolutely.
take that.
You have to make a will,
Yes.
and it's called a living will, incidentally. You have to tell people
Yes.
that I do not want this, and make sure that they obey you, which you can't make sure, of course. But anyway, hope that they obey you.
Sir,
But
my
sir,
spouse and
everyone
I,
does
we
not.
have made it and we have kept it and we have told our children.
Yes. The only
That
thing is
it's
when the
there in
time
this
comes,
place.
will your children listen to that, abide by that will that nobody?
That's a question mark, sir.
That's a
That I
question
cannot.
Yeah.
Their prarabdha and their.
There is prarabdha only.
Yeah.
Okay, so with this we'll stop for today. We have only 2 more verses left, and that we'll finish in the next class. Thank you for your patience. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya
Om Shanti Shanti
Shanti.
Shanti.
Om Shivaya. Thank you for your patience.
Om Namah
Thank you,
Shivaya.
Acharya.
Thank you.